Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Business, Housing, and Zoning Committee. I am Councilmember Jamal Osman. I'm the chair of this committee. Before we begin, I want to remind all folks in this meeting are broadcasted live to enable greater public participation. They include real-time captioning to increase the accessibility of our proceeding to the community. Therefore, all speakers need to be mindful to the rate of their speech so that our captioners can fully transcribe all comments for the broadcast. We ask all speakers to moderate the speed and clarity of their comment. We'll be using speaker management, so please log in. At this time, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll so we can verify a quorum.
Councilmember Rainville.
Present.
Warren.
Present.
Schaefer.
Present.
Chavez.
Present.
Chugtai.
Present.
Vice Chair Chowdhury.
Present.
Chair Osman.
Present.
That's 7 members present.
Let the record reflect we have a quorum. Our agenda is before us. We will begin with the consent agenda. Item 1 is approving a 3 liquor license. Item 2 is approving 26 liquor license renewals. Item 3 is approving a 2 gambling license. Item 4 is approving 2 gambling license renewals. Item 5 is approving amended guidelines for 5 print storefronts. Item 6 is authorizing multiple master contracts for public art managers. Item 7 is accepting a low bid for carpet replacement for Minneapolis Convention Center project. Item 9 is authorizing a contract amendment with Meet Minneapolis. Item 10 approves a commemorative street name to honor Officer Jamal Mitchell on the Blaisdell Avenue. Item 11 authorizes an update agreement with Cowles Center. Item 12 is set a public hearing for May 12, 2026 to make a public comment for 2026 Housing Urban Development, also known as HUD, Action Plan. Lastly, item 13 is an ordinance related to the fence regulation being referred to the staff. With that, do any of my colleagues have any comments? I see Council Member Jason Chavez.
Thank you, Chair Osman. I'd like to just pull out number 7 and number 9 for a separate discussion.
Number 7 and number
9.
Right, Councilmember Chowdhury.
Thank you, Chair Osman. I just had a quick question on the liquor license renewal for staff, if that's all right with you. It's
Yes.
very quick. The question comes from just several constituent businesses that are reaching out about renewals. I just want to know, upon passage, what's the timeline for the license to be granted for them so it can be active for use?
Chair Osman, Councilmember Chowdhury, thank you for that question. If it is a renewal, the license is still considered to be in good standing even while it goes through this process. So there should be no stopping of their approval. They can continue to operate. We have them certified with the state before we go through this, so there should be no delay.
And then when is the renewal just in effect? Like, it's done? The actual step of us voting it and then being in place?
So when is the renewal done? When it's published after the mayor signs off. Full council.
Okay. Do you know what date that is?
So the publication, it depends on when the mayor signs off on it. So if the mayor signs the Friday, it's usually published the Saturday or the Tuesday after. It's usually the following week. I usually like to say 11-ish days after full council.
Okay. That is really helpful. Thank you so much.
I'll recognize Councilmember Schaefer.
Yes, I just wanted to make a comment on number 10. Obviously, we all were horrified with the killing of Jamal Mitchell. And I think this is a beautiful way to be able to honor and remember what happened in our streets that day and to honor his sacrifice. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Councilmember Chowdhury.
Thank you, Chair Osman. I just wanted to make a quick comment on the updated agreement with the Kohl's Center. As you know, that the Kohl's Center was the heart of the dance community for the city of Minneapolis. I had several constituents in the 12th Ward who live in the 12th Ward who are dancers, who do education for students in our public school system and throughout the city. reach out when the Cole Center was closing, and I just want to extend my gratitude to our staff for working on this lease use agreement, and extend gratitude to Arts Nest for being in agreement to help support property management and maintenance. And then, of course, thank our team in arts and culture. And thank you, Director Ben Johnson, also for stepping in and just being a big leader in this process.
Councilmember Rainville.
Just a brief comment about item number 10 as well. Officer Mitchell, within days of him joining the force, was on patrol when there was a house fire. He arrived there in the 10th Ward. And he arrived there before the fire department. He bravely went into that burning building and saved 2 people. He was trying to save another person when he was shot. He deserves that. We should honor him, and I think this is a great way to do it. Thank you.
Thank you, and I do want to second that too. Officer Jamal Mitchell gave his life to our city, and I honor him, and we honor him. I'm wearing this badge today because of his honor, and this is a good way to honor his name, street name change. So with that, I don't see anyone else. I will move all items except items 7 and 9. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed say nay. The ayes have it, and the motion carries. I will recognize Councilmember Chavez.
Thank you, Chair Osmond. I just have a few questions about some of these items. The first one is item number 7, the bid for the Minneapolis Convention Center carpet replacement. I just want to get more information on it. If I'm reading this correctly, it's nearly accepting a low bid of nearly $1.2 million to change carpets at the convention center. I just want to get a little bit more information on that.
Yes. Director, go ahead, please.
Chair Osmond, Councilmember Chavez. Jeff Johnson, I'm the general manager at the Minneapolis Convention Center. And so we have been in a phased approach of doing some renovations at the convention center, starting in our meeting rooms. And we just completed phase 3 of our meeting room renovation. This carpet would be for the lobby spaces of the convention center. It's about half of the lobby spaces within our convention center. The carpet there sees a lot of traffic, 700,000 people a year, and we've had it for about 10 years. And so it's just a normal thing that we put into our budget each certain amount of time frame to remove that carpet so that we have good, beautiful, not worn carpet for our guests.
And do you know what the timeline for this would be?
Chair Osmond, Councilmember Chavez, once the bid is awarded and then the contract is awarded, we are, I think in our schedule, we have planned for it to be installed this summer.
And can you explain where the source is coming from, just for the public?
Chair Osmond, Councilmember Chavez, this comes from the Minneapolis Convention Center budget. So as part of our Minneapolis budget, we have repair and maintenance amounts of money that we use each year to reinvest in the building. Ultimately, these funds come not from the general fund. They come from either revenues that we create through the charges that we charge our clients, or from the downtown sales and use taxes that are collected.
Do you have some examples of how this funding stream has been used in other instances for the convention center?
Chair Osmond, Councilmember Chavez, the sales and use taxes are really used for everything for the convention center. All of our resources, none of our resources come from the general fund. So all of our labor, all of our reinvestment in the building comes through these sales and use taxes.
Thank you. I'd like to set up a meeting ahead of the full council vote next week. I don't think I can support $1.2 million for carpets today, but would love to learn more ahead of that vote on Thursday. Thank you.
Sorry, Councilmember Chavez, did you make a motion?
No, I'm
Okay.
just not going to support a motion to approve today.
All right, wonderful. I would make the motion to approve this item.
Second.
I will All those in favor say aye,
Aye.
and those opposed say nay.
Nay.
The ayes have it, and the motion carries. And item 9.
Thank you, Chair Osman. Item number 9 is a contract amendment with Meet Minneapolis. I had a meeting with COO Anderson Kelleher, but I just think it's important to explain to the public what this is, just for transparency. Director, would you mind just explaining to the public what item number 9 is?
Yes, Chair Osman, Councilmember Chavez. So the City of Minneapolis has a contract with Meet Minneapolis, which is a convention and visitors bureau. They do all the sales and marketing for the convention center and also the tourism marketing for the City of Minneapolis. Those funds also come from sales and use taxes that are collected by people that come into the city and use our resources. So within the Meet Minneapolis contract, we have several different components. One of those components is that we have incentive funding, so we set key performance indicators for them, and then we have $800,000, so $200,000 per key performance indicator, that if they reach their goals, they would receive that incentive funding. Sometimes, based on many different factors, they don't reach their KPI goals, and so that would leave some revenues that are restricted within the contract but unable to be spent because they are not paid out as incentive because they didn't reach their incentive goals. What this amendment is seeking is to unrestrict those funds, so if they don't earn them for an incentive, that we would be able to use those funds for another opportunity within that contract that we have with Meet Minneapolis. I think we all know that the hospitality industry has been very much harmed over the last few years with what's going on, and so being able to get those dollars out into the hospitality community would be very important, and it's something that we would like that ability to do so that it's not just restricted and not able to be spent.
Thank you. Is there any actions that you're going to be taking to help us address meeting those KPI goals in the future?
Chair Osman, Councilmember Chavez, so as part of the oversight that CEO Anderson Kelleher and I have of the contract, we obviously are working with Meet Minneapolis and their board to make sure that everything is in place to hopefully meet and exceed those goals. Obviously, we understand that there have been circumstances that have happened over the last few years even that make it very difficult to meet the goals, and we also want to make sure that those goals have some stretch to them so that they're not just something that would be considered an easy goal to make. And so we have a robust system in place, and those goals are challenging. And so with any sales component, sometimes you make your goals and sometimes you don't. But yes, we are definitely working with them. I meet with Melvin Tennant, the CEO of Meet Minneapolis, weekly, and we're hoping to meet all the goals we can in 2026.
Thank you. I think like a follow-up memo of better explaining the plan would be really helpful for me as a council member. My understanding is that this vote would help us with the Taste of Minnesota event. Is that correct?
Chair Osman, Councilmember Chavez, that decision I don't believe has been 100% made at this point. Obviously, COO Anderson Kelleher would be involved in that decision.
Okay, because I would support that. I just think that this item might need a little bit more tweaking ahead of full council next week, just to make sure that it isn't fully just on the decision of our COO, but making sure that there are a variety of different uses, different cultural events that we can have if we were to give up this authority. So I'll be supporting this item today, but I hope we can better refine this ahead of full council, just because I think we can, since some of these goals weren't met, I feel like we can still make sure that we can have other events and other uses for this funding as well. So I'll support it today, but I just hope we can, make it a little bit more tighter ahead of Thursday next week.
Thank you, Councilmember. I will approve this item for approval. Move forward. So for approval, I did have a conversation with COO, and I think that what we're trying to do is attract traffic in downtown in our city, especially Taste of Minnesota, for folks to come and spend some money. That's how we make revenue. So anything that Minneapolis doing and convention center and the city leadership to create revenue for our city. It's really smart. We talk about, getting the NFL draft here. There are many steps that definitely we should take, and this is one of those items that we can twist around and move around, and I think it's very smart. So thank you so much for bringing forward. I'll recognize Councilmember Warren.
Thank you so much, Council Vice President, or Chair Osman. So I just had a question about, is there like a list of other events that also have the potential to be supported with these fundings? I know that we're hosting the Special Olympics here. I know that there are a number of different things that are happening throughout downtown Minneapolis, and we're excited for those things, but I want to make sure that all the events that are coming do have access and fair and equal opportunity that are coming through our corridors here. So is there like events that you're not able to support, or ones that you prefer to do over one or the other, or what does that look like?
Chair Osman, Councilmember Warren, what we're bringing forward right now is just the opportunity to have those discussions.
Yes.
And so I don't believe there is necessarily a list of opportunities right now that we're looking at. I know Taste of Minnesota has been talked about as one potential opportunity, but really what this is doing is making sure that if we have those resources available, that when opportunities come forward, and we find it in our best interest as a city to support something, that we have the resources to do that, and we can use these and implement them and get them out into the community. And so that conversation will happen as the resources are allowed to be used and the opportunities come forward.
So I understand that there is an excess of incentive funds because the KPIs were not met. So is this something that will be stayed? Is this an amendment that will stay forever, that if in the future they're not met, we can use those? Or would you have to come before council every time to ask about the direction in which funding could be going? And then how much funding are we also talking about here?
Chair Osman, Councilmember Warren, it is our intention that this would become a part of their 5-year contract. We're in year 4 right now, and so we would have a new contract proposal before this body in 4 years. So that would be the intention, that this becomes a permanent part of their contract. Right now, as I had said, there's $800,000 available. They met half of their goals, and so there is $400,000 that right now is restricted and cannot be used for any other reason. This action would allow that $400,000 to be used for something in the community that, again, helps to build those sales and use taxes that I talked about, that actually then come back in and fund the hospitality industry.
Okay, thank you. I'm excited to support this.
Once again, I will recognize Councilmember Chavez.
Thank you, Chair Osman. I'll just read part of the RCA just so we know what we're voting on. It says that this request for council action would authorize an amendment to the contract to allow the city operations officer to reallocate unused incentive funding so that it can be used to offset expenses incurred by community events in Minneapolis outside of the community event activation program and other things. The reason I'm bringing that up is because we will give authority to the COO to decide what to do with this money. I guess part of the reason why I pulled it out for discussion is because I think the council should also have a conversation and have conversations with our COO of what other events we can do to support our communities. I'm thinking about cultural activation, making sure we're supporting our neighbors, not just this particular event. It's not meant to cause any problems. I think Councilman Warren and I are bringing up some of the similar conversations here, and just wanted to point it out because ahead of Thursday conversation, maybe it would be good to get a list of other activation efforts that we can do. I just want to make sure we're focusing on a holistic process, not just for one event. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Seeing no one else, I will move the item 9 for approval. And all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed say nay. The ayes have it and the motion carries. Now we will proceed to our discussion on our agenda. We will begin discussing the John Cook House appeal. This last discussed at our previous meeting, and it's before us now. Is the staff here to kind of give us an update? I know you gave presentation last week, but as I understand, this has been an item that continued to come back since last year. I think this is maybe the fourth or third time that we are sending back. So if you can give us an update about what has been the conversation with landlord selling to the neighbors and neighbors buying. Has there been any agreement between them?
Yes, thank you, Chair Osmond. My name is Rob Skalecki. I'm a senior city planner in the historic preservation team in planning in CPED. You are correct, Chair Osmond. This has come before BIZ a few times. So as you recall, and I summarized last time, this came in front of BIZ in November of last year. And at that point, it was referred back to staff with a extension granted by the applicant's team, and that was for 6 months. So within that time, there was discussion with the property owner about attempting to sell the property to an interested buyer. I know in discussions with the property owner that there was some interest early on in the beginning of this year, and that fell through at that time. To stay within the extension timeline that ends on May 20th, we had to bring this back to the last BIZ meeting. And at that time, I know there was still some community interest in attempting to purchase the property, so that's why it was continued to this meeting today. Since the last meeting, staff has received some comments from property owners. There's one from a prospective buyer that is included in public comments today for your consideration, just detailing some difficulties that the prospective buyer has encountered attempting to consider purchasing the property. But with that, I'm available for any other questions relating to this. But again, to your point, this does go back quite a while, and I'd be happy to address any comments about going back to last year.
Thank you so much. I see that this item has come back, and I see the property owner's representative here. I'd like to ask him a few questions. Mr. Steen, thank you for coming. I know it's been, we've been seeing each other for the last 6-7 months now. And as I remember last time, the conversation was that you were seeking a demolition permit, and then the neighbors came, say they want to buy it. We give them 6 months. What has happened after that? What has been the conversation? What are some of the challenges that this is not being done?
Yeah, thank you, Chair Osmond, council members, Jake Steen with Larkin Hoffman. That's correct. As you'll recall, in November of last year, what we had suggested is we would take the time and work with those individuals within the community who had mentioned that they were interested in acquiring the property. There were several folks that had mentioned that they would be interested in buying. My client, Mr. Jabril, has met with more than a dozen individuals. Had I think a tour of 15 people at one point through the building. Our effort was initially targeted to meeting with the folks in the community that had expressed an interest in buying. I think we had all been under the impression that there were folks that had expressed that they would be the ones interested. Ultimately, that didn't come to fruition. There were obviously a lot of other things going on in the community at the beginning of this year. But in March, Mr. Jabril, after nothing had come to fruition, listed it on MLS. We've had a few interested parties. At the eve of the last meeting, we did hear that an offer was forthcoming and it was continued. Unfortunately, that offer was nominal, and it was not near what the property is worth, we believe. So at this point, we've worked closely with the community. We've tried to entertain any offers. I think this is indicative of the fact that it is really not economically feasible to renovate this building, which is why we've asked to demolish it. That being said, there should be a letter in your packet. We have, prior to the last meeting, we submitted that to staff. So hopefully that made it into your packet, but I can summarize it. If it's not, it was essentially an update of what I just said. And what we would ask, we don't want to keep coming back here if we can avoid it. What we would ask is for the city to approve the demolition today, but then we would commit to continuing to list it. You know, we don't want to demolish a building if we don't have to. Ultimately, that was the original intent for redevelopment. That redevelopment has stalled, but what really prompted us today is these excessive vacant building registry, or extended vacant building registry fees. So what we would say is we will continue to list it until July 15th, again, subject to holding any further enforcement. We'll keep meeting with folks. There have been a few folks that have expressed interest, but at this point, we just don't want to have to come back here. So again, we would commit to that as long as we would still have the demolition permit issued today.
Yep. The way I understand that the decision has to be made, this is the final deadline. City Attorney, can you kind of talk about a little bit of what the deadline is?
Chair Osman, according to the MOU signed between the city and the developer, I believe the final decision needs to be made by May 20th of.
Yep. So this is the final. I hear you. Thank you for being patient. And has there been any official offer from anyone?
Yes, we did receive an offer for $25,000.
And the cost of the building, the sale of the building, how much was it?
Pardon?
The sale of the building?
The list price currently is $250. You know, I think we paid probably about $75,000 in penalties alone.
Fine. Yeah, I would, you know, definitely want to make a decision on this soon, but I intend to vote this in favor of awarding the permit, but I would like to move this item without recommendation to see if there's any opportunity from now until Thursday, or I guess following week, next Thursday, to see if there's any movement on that.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Council Vice Chair. I will recognize Councilmember Warren.
Thank you, Chair. May I ask you a question again? So how much is it going to cost to demolish this building, if that's what you're looking to do?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Councilmember Warren. I don't believe we have a current bid. I don't know if you, well, I suppose you may, this may have come before you. So just a kind of a refresher of how we got here. This building was on the vacant building registry for 5 years before my client acquired it. Mm-hmm. At the time, the intent was to redevelop it in conjunction with an adjacent property. Ultimately, it was condemned after he acquired it, and then a year after it was condemned, it was put on the city's, is designated as a landmark. So it's been quite some time since we had an active bid, but I don't want to speculate what it would cost today. As you can imagine, prices have gone up, and I suspect there's probably some asbestos in the building.
Okay. And so you have received an offer at 10% of what the listed price was. That is correct?
That's correct.
And we know that there is a need for significant rehabilitation in the property itself if the property is to remain standing. I received an email from a group of a coalition of architects and historians, preservationists, and contractors, artists, local stakeholders. They stated that they have the capacity and the commitment to restore the home responsibly and in full compliance with the HPC standards, and that the property, although it was available and had been vacant after the previous ownership for a number of 5 years, didn't take the MLS listing until after until March, which was nearly 4 months into the reparative period granted by the city. So I know that it's taxing, and it's mentally and emotionally taxing to come down here and see our lovely faces. We don't mind seeing you, you know, and we appreciate you coming. But I do believe that this holds some significant value to the community. And from the information that I'm receiving here, these individuals are saying, despite the barriers, our group has demonstrated both the willingness and a capacity to acquire and rehabilitate the property. And this is coming from Daisy Morin, who is a member of this group, and there's been several articles that are cited here in the Star and Tribune, in the Northeast coverage, a letter of recommendation to the HPC that was sent to CPED, that they wanted to deny the certificate of appropriateness for demolition and found that there's a reasonable alternative. And then the historic study, design study work that's also been included in here. So I don't think I'm going to support this. I think I'm going to ask that you wait and that, we see what is going to happen. Is there a deadline on acceptance? Because ultimately what I look at is this. Whatever the cost it is, it's going to be to demo this property. If they've made a 10% offer, I understand what you're asking for. But what you're asking for, you're going to tear it down. And so it's better to get some change than no change. You know what I mean? And it's costing you less. You'll walk away with a little something in your pocket instead of spending something for something that you're listing that is not meeting that expectation and requirement, because we know that it's going to take more to put into the property to bring it up to standard than it would to, tear it down and sell it. I could see making the request as previously stated about pulling the permits in advance and ensuring those individuals have the permitting fees and all of those things to pull the permits for the restorative value of the property. But if it's going to cost you about $25,000 or $30,000 to tear down the property, why not just take the $25,000 or $30,000 to get the property and let the people have the space that they need to repair the property?
Chair Osmond, Councilmember Warren, a couple of thoughts. So we are also under the impression that group has made that offer several times over the last 6 months or even longer, but nothing has actually ever come to fruition outside of this one offer. But I think what you're saying is that there's a recognition that it's economically infeasible, but there's somebody out there who's willing to do it. The second piece is not the legal standard. The first piece is the legal standard under the city's code. If it's not economically feasible to repair it, if you would end up upside down and you're forced to take $0, that's the standard under the code for demolition of a historic resource. So I think that's exactly our point, is this demonstrates that the standard has been met. And there is some value in this property. There is value in this property for redevelopment. We're committed to working to redevelop. But the standard under the city code to demolish a historic landmark is if it's economically infeasible, and it can't be done. And the truth is, it would cost over $1 million to repair this. We've never really received a bona fide offer outside of this $25,000 offer. And we know that even if it was fully constructed, it would be worth significantly less than $1 million. So again, the legal standard is that we're upside down, and that standard has been met. So that's why we'd like to demolish it. But again, the demolition was really driven by the extended vacant building fees. We're committed to continuing to list this. We're comfortable with moving forward with a recommendation or no recommendation to next meeting. We're happy to meet with folks over the next week and a half and try to find somebody. That's what it's always been about, is trying to find somebody who will take this property. But again, there is we can't be asked to. My client can't be expected to take essentially all value from his property and end up with nothing.
Well, that's what's going to happen if it's demolished. He's going to take all value from the property and end up with nothing. You tear it down, he still owe a bag. What does he have to sell then?
Well, then you would have a vacant a lot that can be redeveloped for housing. And he had originally brought forward a project that was supposed to incorporate this property for housing. So there's still real economic value in this property, and I think what we would be asked to do is take nothing, and it would be deprive my client of all economic value of the property, which is the standard in both the Minnesota Constitution and the United States Constitution for a taking.
So what is the value of the land at currently right now?
There's a lot of factors that go into it. As you can imagine, right now, the market is a little bit wonky, but he does own about a half a block adjacent to this property, and there's some real value to that. And again, it was always intended to be a housing project. This area, the city needs housing. He's committed to doing that, and that's what this property was acquired for in the first place.
Okay. All right. Thank you for answering all of those questions.
Before I recognize Councilmember Chavez, I see City Attorney on queue here.
Yes, thank you, Chair Osmond. I thought this might be a good opportunity to remind the body that this is a quasi-judicial matter. I know that we have spoken about it briefly in Super Cow, but I think this might be the first time that we've had that discussion here in Biz, and so I just wanted to remind you of your obligations in that setting. So when you're taking an action involving applying existing laws and rules to a particular request, you're exercising what's called quasi-judicial authority. You do have less discretion when acting quasi-judicially. Courts, in reviewing your decision, will examine whether you applied the rules in place to the facts before you. So you should be considering things like, is there a complete record of your proceedings? Was fair notice of a hearing given? Was prejudgment bias avoided? And particularly, it's important for you to make a decision on the item based on the findings of fact in the record. So you can find that standard for how to make a decision in staff's report. That is the report that was attached to the agenda item. And of particular note here, in order to make that decision on destruction in a case like this, you need to be considering one of two possibilities: whether the destruction is necessary to correct an unsafe or dangerous condition on the property, or whether there's no reasonable alternatives to the destruction. And in determining whether there are no reasonable alternatives, you're to consider issues such as the significance of the property, the integrity of the property, and the economic value or usefulness of the existing structure, including its current use, cost of renovation, and feasible alternative uses. And so I bring that up to say that while these other discussions might be of interest to you, ultimately in making a decision on this item before you, you are limited to the standard that is to be applied in this case and the findings of fact on the record. And if you do have any questions about what that standard means or what findings of fact are in the record, I would encourage you to ask for clarification from staff.
Thank you so much, City Attorney, for that information, and I will recognize Councilmember Chavez.
Thank you, Chair Osmond. And what is the recommendation from staff here?
Chair Osmond, Councilmember Chavez. So staff's recommendation was the HPC voted consistently with staff's recommendation to deny the demolition. In that the findings that the city attorney just read, staff did not believe that the applicant submitted materials met those or were consistent with them. So staff recommended denial, and the HPC voted unanimously in support of that.
Okay, that's good clarification, and thanks for that information. Okay. I do have a question for folks. I just want to know what the listed price is right now.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Councilmember Chavez. I believe it's about $245,000 right now.
And then how much was it purchased for in 2019?
That amount, exactly that amount, and
So
I think
the same amount.
Same amount, correct.
And then I have a few questions. I think a lot of neighbors have come up and said that for the past 6 years, it's felt like the property has been left to deteriorate. Have you taken any action since then, since this a community has had more time to purchase or come into an agreement, and what actions have been taken to address the safety concerns?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say that it's been a near constant project for my client. Again, he had acquired this property after about 5 years of vacancy, being on the vacant building registry. And since that time, I think we've counted probably more than 15 instances of having to have maintenance out, board up the building. 2 times since November, really 2 times in the last month, I've received emails from the city attorney's office, and we immediately went out within 24 hours to clean up glass on site, and I've been corresponding with the city attorney's office regarding that. So it's been a pretty substantial and constant project.
And if this motion is approved next week or whenever this vote happens, when will the demo occur?
Well, what we've committed to right now is we would continue to maintain it and list it on the market and entertain offers until July 15th. And we would, again, that it's contingent on not continuing to have those extended vacant building.
So there'll be
fees.
no demo until July 15th?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
And then, just for the public to follow along, Chair Osmond, Vice President Osmond has made a motion to move without recommendation. That does not mean that whoever votes for that, does that mean they support the demolition? I just want to be clear about the council process. There is no recommendation with that motion. The debate will then happen at full council next week. So I'll be supporting the motion without recommendation, but I don't want that to be interpreted as a position on this today. So I just want to be clear.
All right, thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed say nay. The ayes have it, and the motion carries. That's our last item, but I do want to make an exception and suspend the rule and allow Mr. English, Senior Mr. English, to come on the podium and address us about the importance of affordable housing. I do want to make a motion, if that's okay with my colleagues here.
Second.
All right, with that motion to suspend the rules, to have Mr. English speak with us, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay.
Nay.
Ayes have it, and the motion carries. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I appreciate the opportunity to address this committee, this Business Committee and Economic Development Committee. We're in a serious problem. As you know, almost 6 years ago, this city invested a considerable amount of money to acquire what is now called the Upper Harbor Terminal Redevelopment Project. That plan was developed from the ground up, and citizens met over 4 years to put together a plan that this council approved. The council funded the acquisition of this land, 46 acres, once chartered the Negro slum. More than 40 to 50 citizens participated over a 4-year period, often without meals and over on Saturday, to put together a plan. First, the plan come from the bottom up, from the community up, with a lot of help from the CPED staff and that expertise to develop this plan. Well, since that time, and 3 applications later, Minnesota Housing Finance Agency has refused to finance any housing for that project. I will remind you that the city has spent this money to acquire the land. They have spent money to clear the land. Metro Council has put in all the public utilities. And on May 4th, we'll celebrate the grand opening of the amphitheater, which is a wonderful project that the community approved and embraced. But if you ask me, priority-wise, while I'm happy and will be participating in the May 4th celebration, where's the housing? You're talking about a city that has the highest number of homeless people, has had the highest number of encampments, though we've done a good job of moving those around. We send more money to the state than any other city. And let me just tell you, the area they call the Negro slums spends, and that's African Americans, not our black immigrant brothers, spend $6 billion to the economy in this state every year. Those aren't my figures. They were done by Dr. Excuse my name, his wife, Emma Corey, Dr. Bruce Corey, who now works for the mayor of St. Paul. Anyway, he did that study. $6 billion and over $600 million in taxes. Those are facts. If we contribute that much, isn't it time for us to get our fair share of housing in North Minneapolis and other parts of the city? We just have to. And to deny us this housing has been, first of all, we did invite the commissioner of MFHA to a community meeting to explain why. It cost the developers $40,000 to $50,000 to submit an application. And over 3 applications, we were denied, even though they said we wrote the best application. The first statement was it was too large. So you're telling me 700 units of mixed income housing, a third affordable, a third workforce housing, 50 to 60% AMI, and a third market rate. If that's too many houses for Minneapolis, and you can send $10 million to Moorhead, excuse me, if they find 10 homeless people in Moorhead, they're lucky. But they're getting money for affordable housing. I don't have a problem with that. But what about your largest city and those of us who have the greatest number of housing and unemployment? Unemployment. And those jobs, rebuilding those houses, we have an agreement with the union, the trades. Everything is in place for those houses to be built. And so I'm asking this council and this committee to move to the full city council and ask every Minnesota legislator, why are they permitting our city to go without affordable and mixed income housing? Why? And that more often, since this year was a bonding and a policy change, we submitted a proposal for them to bond all 700 units and a policy change so that MFHA will report annually to the legislature and the community how much investment have they made in marginalized community. I would beg this group of august council members to really understand the kind of impact that will have on our community, the kind of housing it will bring, the gentrification that we were trying to minimize with the Up Harbor plan. Part of that was to avoid gentrification. And so all of those objectives have been worthwhile, and it deserves your support. So I ask for you, and I appreciate you giving me this special opportunity to speak, but we need you. We need each one of you to insist that our legislators support all of Minneapolis, not just North. North is suffering more than any, but all of us need housing. They did give the Little Earth some rehab money, and they built that monstrosity, old New Salem church, down here on Plymouth Avenue, as you all know. And it just got the neighborhood upset because it's too much concentration of affordable housing. And we know that doesn't work. We know mixed income housing is the best way it works. And that's the plan was for the Up Harbor Terminal. And it's now time for this council to exercise its authority to ask our legislatures that represent each one of you to take a position and get this project bonded. Now the city will come to you with another plan, and that is for the city to consider bonding this plan. And if they do, I hope you will support it, because we need the housing. We support it. If the state won't help us, then the part of government closest to the citizens of Minneapolis are you. You're the ones. So we have to depend on you when the state treats us second and third class. But we're not away with knowing there's an election coming up in November. We will not forget. So those legislatures who won't support that, we will be telling our people, vote your name in instead of them. So if you're running for office, you better come up with a plan and say you embrace our getting what we need, or we're going to tell our people, write your name in.
Thank you,
and
sir.
let's see how they go. So thank you for the time. I appreciate it. I really appreciate the work, Councilwoman, and I will ask each one of you, Chaudhry, Chavez, Sister Warren, and Council Member Rainville, and Chugatai. I hope I'm saying your name right. And Ms. Schaefer, thank you so much for this time.
Thank you so much, sir, for stopping by. Seeing no further business before us, with no objection, I'll declare this meeting adjourned. Thanks, everyone.